Welcome to Photo Finds. I am your host, Kevin Yee. Let's get started this week at the Art of Animation Resort, where the third of 4 stages has opened up. This new wing is dedicated to the Lion King, as you can see. We've got Rafiki out in front welcoming people, and you can see some of the decorations on the sides of the building we'll take a closer look at in just a moment here. They appear to be decorations of generic animals, perhaps coming to the coronation of Simba, which we'll see in a moment. Now, this wing is unlike the other two, which were Finding Nemo and Cars, because it's more about the foliage and the plant life than it is about props and decorations. So it's a little bit more of a naturalistic feel, almost like Animal Kingdom. And you see some prints on the ground, in fact, if we were to take a close-up view. That shows you it's a little bit like the Animal Kingdom approach. There's that Simba on Pride Rock I was talking about, and as you can see, Simba's up quite tall, so you can't stand right next to Simba to take the picture. He's also quite large. So a little bit further into the wing, you'll see that very broad avenue in between both halves, both buildings, and there's the young Simba and Timon and Pumbaa going across a log. It's again something you can't go stand right next to. In fact, there's a sign here, and we'll take a closer look at it, that tells us no climbing, or in this case, pause on the ground. There's actually 2 signs, no climbing, and then the more temporary one that says pause on the ground. Now, instead of a pool, this area has a playground, except it's not really a playground. There's not much to play with. You're not allowed to climb on the skeleton. There's another sign on the side here saying no climbing. There's a tunnel in the back, but that's really all there is. It's got that spongy ground you might find in an interactive playground, or especially one that has water, like at the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playset in Hollywood Studios, but there's no equipment otherwise to climb on. The 3 hyenas are here as well, but something you can look at, maybe take a picture of, but nothing to play with. So a little further down towards the end, you'll see Scar, again, lying on something that's out of reach slightly, and there's another sign over here saying not to climb. Off in the distance is the Little Mermaid section. We'll talk about that in a moment. The backside of Scar, you've got Zazu over on a rock. So let's take a peek just inside one of these buildings, and as you'll see, the outside has been decorated with foliage shaped decorations, but they're not particularly well themed, unlike what we saw in the Cars Land. And where Cars area had Rusty's themed mats, these are just black mats. It's a little bit less themed, and the environment comes down just a little bit as a result. Now, they still have the paintings on the side, and then the themed room numbers. In this case, it's a leaf, and in fact, even the leaf motif keeps going on the sconces here for the lights, and that's a good thing. As is the carpet, where you have the 3 sets of prints, so Simba's and Timon's and Pumbaa's, going into the rooms. Now, if you go have a look at the rooms, there's a lot of theme here. It's very busy looking. You see that there's some overlapping patterns, and they've got like the lyrics from Hakuna Matata on one of these footstools here. And if we turn around and look at the other direction, we'll see a table with, again, more theme. It's like we're in the middle of one of the songs from the movie. This is actually the fold-out bed, and when you fold it out, you see Simba sleeping in a vine, sort of the no worries concept, like we see from the movie. Now, this resort, like a few others who have been retrofitted, this resort was built with RFID in mind, so you can open your door just by waving your card in front of it. There's not a place to slide your key card. This is what it looks like on the outside. First, the rock here, and instead of big props like you have in the Finding Nemo section, you have giant seagulls. And this is what it is on the outside. In this case, that's Timon, various sketches. So this is a peek over the wall at the last section of Art of Animation. It looks different from the others because it has these exterior hallways. As you recall, this Art of Animation resort was going to be the second half of Pop Century. It's really only Pop Half Century that exists now. And these buildings were constructed when the recession hit, and the second half of Pop Century never came to be. They turned that ground here into Art of Animation. But since these buildings were already constructed, they kept those, and these will now be used for the Little Mermaid. It's got a different style to them, of course, and the rooms are smaller. They're regular value sized, and therefore this one will be cheaper than the other sections of Art of Animation. You'll see, zooming in here, Little Mermaid hiding behind the shell. Over on the side, you've got a side view of Ursula and a side view of King Triton. Those are the oversized decorations we're going to see in that section when it opens next month. Here we are at the Universe of Energy. This is just a moment where I wasn't quite certain if something has changed or not. And they used to have a sign here saying Universe of Energy at the door. This certainly is new. It's not that new, but I simply haven't been on the ride in a couple of months. Of the many cars they have here, there are 5 operating now. The 6th one in the middle is gone for some reason. This one is blue. It's been painted blue, and no one really knows why or has said out loud why one of them is blue. Maybe all of them are turning blue. Perhaps it's designed to match the color scheme of the new test track when it comes back. Now across Future World, over to the Seas with Nemo and Friends. This section here is new. They've always had kind of a shade covering there for cast members, but they've not usually had a permanent shade covering. And as you can see, the ground has been worked on here. In fact, there's kind of an electrical box in the ground there. That's presumably for FastPass Plus, as are, I'm going to scroll over here, the signage here. So you've got some holes and some plugs here for signage to go into the top, presumably one to say standby and one to say FastPass return. Now, as we look at this from the other side, you'll catch a glimpse of construction going on the side here, and again, as we get a little bit closer. So presumably there will be a split throughout this entire pathway for FastPass and standby. Over to the Mexico Pavilion, where a couple of months ago they added a new display in the front section. Instead of the artists with those little wooden structures, they've got kind of a celebration of Mexico from the ancient times, as we see here, and I enjoyed this. They've got a direct quote from what you used to hear as you would start in El Rio del Tiempo, the River of Time. So there's a little bit of an homage stuck at the beginning of the new pavilion's exhibit. And so this is a piece of the exhibit where there's more history told of the original civilizations there. And I'm taking a step into the pavilion now where several months ago, really this dates back to when the tequila bar opened, the Arabis brothers moved into what was then called Casa Mexicana, and the crystal shop took up residence here. And I don't often take pictures of the merchandise, but this one kind of caught my eye for being so Disney heavy. It's not true of all of the Arabis brothers offerings throughout the Disney resort. Another picture, something that may have in fact been there for years now. I'm not sure it was there for Kim Possible, but it's certainly there for the Agent P World Showcase experience. This is outside Epcot, kind of a rune stone. Around the World Showcase Lagoon to France Pavilion, this is inside that one shop that has now been taken over halfway by a wall. This is looking at it from the exit of the France movie, Impression de France. And you see that half the room is now blocked off. In the back corner here, we previously showed you a couple of doors. That will be the entrance to the new area. The new area will house the bakery. The current bakery will become an ice cream shop. Now continuing around at Le Cellier's entrance here, this is the Victoria Gardens. They've got these walls up, and since this picture was taken, which was about a week ago, someone else has told me that there is now vertical construction going on here, something that looks rather permanent. I haven't heard yet what's going into that spot, so let me know in the comments if you find out. Just a little notice of the snacks that have changed a little bit around World Showcase. Phineas and Ferb snacks, including the sugar cookie. And then over to the Phineas and Ferb issue station in Future World. I recall seeing this from the Kim Possible area, but I don't recall seeing these specific decorations for the Agent P Showcase Adventure. And this sign as well is new. Most of them are blue, not an orange theme, so the sign itself is a little bit different. Over in Future World again, this is the test track area. There used to be a pizza cart over here, as well as some tables, and that's now completely removed. As you can see, it's just simply empty. And then those construction walls we were looking at a second ago, here they are from another angle. Cool Wash is behind the walls. I wouldn't be surprised if that entire structure comes down. Over to the Magic Kingdom, these benches are new and near the bus stop at the TTC. This is a corner that probably most of you don't see, but when you walk in from the parking lot you do. It's just nice to have benches there outside the bathroom. Now, I've consistently been thwarted in getting a picture of the DVC construction next to the Grand Floridian. I'm always arriving at the wrong time of day, and this is no exception, but I'll zoom in on what I have. It's gone multi-level, as you see here. I hope to get a shot for you during the daytime from the monorail as soon as I get around to it. Now into the Magic Kingdom. This is the Sorcerer's Issue spot next to what was once the fire station. They've re-added the patches. That's been there for some time now. I just haven't taken a picture of it for you. And I have mentioned before that they've got this carrying case for the cards available, and they're not selling it here, but they want you to know that it's there. Now again, apologies for the nighttime shot rather than daytime, but as you can see, they're making good progress on the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster. They're beginning to kind of cover up one of those tracks. And remember, there's the inside track and the outside track going on here. At least two sets of slope. One was the top and one was the bottom, and so they're continuing work on that. And I'll show you a shot in a moment of the castle wall as well. But first, over to Winnie the Pooh, where the FastPass Plus machines have returned. These are RFID readers, and this is the regular FastPass line. So it looks like we'll be seeing these make a reappearance in the fall. We also saw them at Haunted Mansion and at Peter Pan. Plus, there's some spot going into Pirates of the Caribbean where you'll see them as well. There's that castle wall. Now they're still working on it a little bit. You can see some of the construction materials underneath. Hasn't fully been painted, but as you can tell, the wall has a lot of detail to it. They've got some colorations and obviously textures on the wall already. While we were there at Winnie the Pooh, I just thought I'd point out, I've never really noticed that the entire queue is set up to be the first chapter of that book. As you know, the Winnie the Pooh story unfolds with books, and chapter 2 is the ride. This is at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, where I've taken a shot inside the earthquake scene that no longer features an earthquake or rumbling or rocks moving or anything. It's kind of a static scene now. There's no projection up here like there is at Disneyland of falling rocks. So there's no real explanation for why this track is broken here and why we're going through the tunnel, or in fact why the roller coaster exists in the first place. The mythos is that the car has broken free because of the earthquake, and thus has no driver. But none of that really is explained in the modern attraction. So here we are at Pirates of the Caribbean. This photo is taken from the loading dock and looking back at the queue. And this is an area that was once the ship under construction, dry dock here. And it separated one side of the queue from the other side of the queue. Well, in its place now, we have walkway, so this is now accessible area. There's no ship here at all, and a dividing it's kind of sectional here, and then some free zone up at the front. And this is where I think the FastPass Plus machines readers will go, because this is obviously meant to be a merge point where the two lines will come together and then kind of go toward the left and right loading zones. Presumably the standby line will just stay there while the FastPass line gets put into both A and B sides of Pirates until it's time to let more people go by through the through the standby line. Now this same area, if you take flash photos of them, you'll see they've got cannonball decorations now in the walls and corners in a couple of places to make it look like a battle has gone on there. So I really appreciated the placemaking they've done there to make the line a little bit more interesting, as people are going to have to stand in it for additional time once the thing starts testing again with FastPass Plus. That does it for this week. We will catch you next time.